I do want to start, I always kind of start my little sessions with this little reminder for all of us that we are in this together. We're all neighbors, we all live in the same community, so we might have different opinions, but we all do have one thing in common, and that is we all have a passion for the community, the place where we live. We love it here, obviously, enough to come to show up and care about some of the decisions being made, so thank you for that very, very much, everybody. And the goal is for us to kind of find our common interests together so we can be a community that thrives together. All right? So I'm just going to kind of go quickly over a little bit of the HELP program. I know some of you are very up to date with the HELP program. Ladies back there, have you followed what's been going on social media and stuff? The things that I've been posting, like the survey results and stuff like that? Okay. So no one feels a need for me to go deep into the history of the HELP. Okay, I won't really do that. Now, I do just want to say this funding is coming directly from COVID-19. It's federal funding, it's going to the state, and it has to have a COVID-19 tieback. We can be very creative with that because COVID hit us in a lot of different areas in a lot of different ways, and we are still recovering from that, honestly. We're not at the same position that we were before COVID hit in a lot of different areas. So, again, any project that we do propose has to respond, prevent, or prepare us in the event that another COVID or another pandemic does come back. And the biggest goal with this HELP program that Oker created for this grant funding, they could have just easily awarded the city the money and let us make decisions, do our thing. That's usually how most grants go. But this specific grant was designed to help engage city leadership with the community and kind of create that connection again with being transparent and open and bringing the community into those decisions when it comes to putting big projects in the community, because what we decide to do affects everyone here, it affects us all. And not just us now, but, years from now or the next generation that comes in. So, it is really important. And that's what I've really honestly enjoyed this. I'm not going to lie, I was a little scared at first. Community engagement can be a little scary sometimes, but it's actually been kind of a beautiful experience to interact with all kind of walks of life within our community and again, try to find that common interest, because there is always at least one thing that we can always agree on and that we have in common. So that was, the main thing was they let the mayor hire a community coordinator. First time ever. There's never been a community coordinator and staff. There's never been a marketing director or a community outreach, anything like that. And if you look back at some of the surrounding communities that have really thrived lately, it's because they've had this staff position. It's a full-time job. It is way beyond a full-time job. But they've had this staff position for years that's helped kind of push goals and stay focused in areas when, the mayor can't focus on everything. He's just one person. But my position is really the liaison between the community and the city government. So my job is to bring the community's voice to city leadership and kind of be a bug in their ear sometimes and say, I've heard this need from the community, I hear it, I need to tell you, we got to address it. So I really hope it's something that our city leadership does decide to continue to keep on staff, not just for myself for a job, but just because of the importance that it can do. But if anytime, my job is to speak for the community. So if anyone has issues or concerns, reach out to me, 100%. I will talk. I love to brainstorm. I will talk all day long, as long as I can. But, I like to find solutions. You get to the point, what's the problem? How do we fix it? And let's move forward. So these are just the HELP timelines. You've probably seen I've had 4 pathway teams that we have to stick into with those 4 categories. I've created little teams. We've actually had the first official meeting for each one. You can see that little checkbox. And the next week and a half to 2 weeks is a really busy 2 weeks for me. I've got a lot of things going on. We're having our second meeting for each one of those areas. And then next Monday, I'll actually be coming back to the park board. I presented projects to the park board 2 weeks ago, and I presented them to city council this week, and so far everything is going very, very smoothly. Everybody seems to really be on the same page, which is very nice. But we're kind of getting to that point here in this process where the next few weeks are pretty crucial. I will again present the projects to the park board, get their opinion, make sure that they are okay with these projects, because as of right now, the projects are all in the Parks Department. And then I go back to City Council and I will ask for their vote to move on to this next phase of the HELP program. And after I get that vote on Monday, May 1st, those projects are pretty locked in. There is one more meeting on May 24th, and that's when Okra will actually come to Connersville, and they'll sit down with the whole core team, and we will run through these projects. We will run through these projects together, and after this meeting's over, those projects are locked in for good. And then I work very diligently trying to finalize everything, get the quotes. I can start getting quotes, getting bids, and start looking at timelines. So these are areas, and so far where I'm at, out of all the pathway meetings that we've had, these are very identified projects and areas that I've heard a lot of opinions about, a lot of thoughts about, a lot of passion about. These projects are not going to fit into this HELP grant right now. Some of it is funding, some of it is just timeline. You know, some of these things, I'm only 4 months into my position, so I can't obviously come into my position in the first 4 months and fix the slum and blight areas. But I can really use this as a guide piece for myself. As soon as this HELP grant is over, these are the areas that I want to start working on, because I'm using this to my advantage in this process. And it's not just myself, I shouldn't say that, I apologize. These are the areas that your city leadership identifies as well, that we would like to put a lot of time into, and we want to see growth, and we want to see change. So looking on these, does anyone have any questions about any of these areas that you see?
So these were suggestions by those folks that at the top? Is that
correct? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not just from the pathway meetings, but also from the survey. Some of the survey results are kind of mingled in here too. And just general, I've had a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations. You know, I listen to people, I listen to your concerns, and I write stuff down, and it gets thrown into the mix with everyone else. But these are the major areas.
These came from the surveys too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are the most heard issues that the community would like to see the city leadership work on. Anyone have any questions on any of those? All right. So from the survey, there's 9 questions altogether, but I brought these up for you guys to look at because to me this says something. The first question says, do you think the city of Connersville needs to increase options for programming and facilities that focus on physical wellness? And we got 70% of the community said yes. And the second question was, do you think landscaping, beautification, and art installations within the community have any impact on quality of life and mental health? And that one was 80%. To me, that last question, I don't focus on the landscaping and beautification as much as I look at the fact that people are addressing mental health. That they see that and they're saying, yes, we need something in our community for our mental health. That last question there, what had the highest percentage of any question. Everything else was kind of if and off, but that last question right there was just blew it out of the water for me that, yeah, we're all ready to talk about it. We're all ready to address it. And we all know that we've all kind of had issues these last few years. And a lot of it's COVID related. A lot of it is COVID related. So this is a lot. This is the actual survey results. And I know there's a lot to kind of digest on here, but I wanted you to kind of look at it for a second because once we go through this process and I explain all these projects, I'm going to come back to this page and show you in the 3 projects that we are proposing just how many of these we're checking off the list. It's actually, it's very strategic, and I believe it's a very good outcome because we're checking off lots of things with just 3 projects. Hi. So, first project is Roberts Park. you guys have probably seen this too if you've been paying attention online and stuff. So this is the current playground, Kittyland, where it sits at now. Kittyland's been there for a long time. I don't know exactly how long, but at least 30 years. I know for sure. Longer than that. Really? It's so funny how they make things nowadays, they made that, thing would probably stand forever, but it's time for it to go. It's time for an update. It's time for a new playground to go in there.
Sorry.
You're fine. You are totally fine. So I've stressed this very much with everyone that I've shown these maps to, because this is not set in place. I don't want anyone to think that this is exactly where everything is going, because it isn't. But this is just to see what all we could possibly fit inside that space. This shelter is already there, and it's not going anywhere. We will not touch that. But the idea is for us to put the skate park and the pump track and the playground all in this area, because it gives us those restroom access for all of these individuals. You have the basketball courts on the other side of this, on the other side of the drive, and we're really trying to run with the idea of this safety zone, this safety area for our youth, for our young adults, that they know that they can go to the park and there's going to be groups there and they're going to be safe. They don't have to be scared. They're not going to be in trouble. They just get to go and have a safe place within the community for them to hang out with their friends, have some outdoor recreation, play on the playgrounds. And it's kind of all centralized, too. If you think about it from the city side, if we keep our children contained in one safe place, we can ensure that they're safe a lot easier than if we spread them out all over the community. It's a lot easier for us to make sure that we are keeping them safe like this. So this is kind of just a guess of 4 light poles. It might be 6. It just kind of depends on that. But security cameras, the restroom updates, the restroom probably needs a new roof. I don't know. I'm not a contractor, but that's what we're kind of working around, some updates in that, and then putting that heat pump in the restroom. We'd like to also put a water fountain out there as well. And let me get to the next page. And we'll talk about the skate park. There's really not a name for this idea that we're trying to come up with. It's we're trying to create an idea of an all-wheels park. It really isn't something that we have seen designed and created and built. Usually what communities do is they go in with the skate park. That's their first build. They put like this skate park in, and a few years later, if everyone takes care of it and it grows, then they'll build all around it and add the pump track to it. It's a strategy. It gets the job done. But for us, we're sitting in this very unique position where we do have this larger amount of money, where if we go in and we put this all in at one time, we're going to save a lot of money, because it just takes the same designer can design the whole thing. So you're almost saving half of your design costs that way, and your construction crew can build it all at once. Usually with these builds, you have to take dirt out of areas for these bowls, but then you have to add dirt for the pump tracks. So it actually saves us a lot, because as we're building this, we just take dirt out and put it where we need it, and we don't have to bring in dirt and things like that. It actually is strategic. I think it's very smart, because that's what because we're saving so much with it. But there's a lot of different designs. Obviously I can't get into the point where I'm getting designs and exact quotes yet, because I have to get the pass and the yes votes from city council and things like that. But this is a really, really unique idea, because it's all wheels. It's not just for skate park or for skateboards and bicycles, but rollerblading, the electric wheels. And we found something this week that we really think would be amazing, is if we could figure out and guarantee that we can make this wheelchair accessible as well.
Where is the proposed area for the skate park?
Back here in the northeast corner. You know where Kittyland, that playground is? Yeah.
I've just seen several locations. I think I saw, it was Office Park or something.
This is right.
But that map that you just showed, the red part was the
Yeah.
actual pump track, or was that? where, so you see where, point to where the horse track is.
So the horse track is down here. The hill, this is that drive, and then the drop is right here, the big hill.
And point out the Roberts building,
The Roberts building is right here.
and we're in the Miller building, and it is,
Here's the basketball courts, and then we're down here in the Miller building.
Yeah, okay.
and the armory.
And the armory is right here,
There, okay.
and then that would be the drive out onto Waterloo, I think. That's when it becomes
So
Waterloo.
the blue is the skate park.
It is in this picture, yeah. It is. There is one possibility with the savings of cost. If you look at the land layout right here, right about here, it actually starts to slope down. It dips down, and it kind of makes this bowl area right here. So if you look at, let me go. If you look at this design on the skate park, that actually follows kind of the exact same slope that's going on in our current Roberts Park. So, there's a possibility when the designer comes in that they're going to say, hey, it would be smarter for you to put the skate park and this whole design kind of where Kittyland is right now.
I think so, because if you put that on the other side of the kiddie land, there's going to be older kids traveling back and forth through that, and I would not like that as a parent.
Traveling through where? Show me.
They're going to come from the road and they're going to truck back and forth through that playground where there's smaller kids. If you have it over
Like from
there,
here?
they have no reason to go over if you switch their places.
I see what you mean. So if we put the playground right here,
Yeah,
you think that would be a good idea?
I do. I don't think that anybody would have any reason to go through there.
And we have talked about that quite a bit. I guess our one concern was we were worried that the toddlers and the parents with the toddlers would feel like we were putting them in the corner.
I like
You
it
know?
back there though. Like, as a parent right now, and my kids are 9 and 10 now, but I really don't enjoy that playground because of the proximity to older kids with the basketball, and there are a lot of cars coming and going through. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That's a very.
It doesn't feel very secure, and it's really close to that road if you have a tiny one or two, and one goes that way, and then you look back and the other one's missing.
That actually came up yesterday in our pathway meeting too. Yeah, someone was concerned because they had toddlers as well, and they were worried about this playground being so close to the road that people kind of drive fast through here.
They do, or they're not paying attention.
Does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to our old skate park that we had here?
It was wood. It's probably been about 25 years now, maybe 20 that was put in. I actually talked to Mike Bottomley quite a bit about that. He was the park superintendent at the time, and he was the one that built that himself. And he saw a need from the kids that they wanted a skate park. He never, built anything before. And it wasn't really a skate park. It was really a bike ramp. If you remember at all the design of it, it was kind of long and skinny, and it just had those big curves on the side. So it was really, the only purpose for it was for bikes to kind of do those big jumps. It was never intended for it to be for skaters, because skaters are a little bit harder on things with the actual skate wheels, and it just deteriorated over time. I mean, it was wood, so those things always have. I mean, you would be incredibly lucky if you got 20 years out of that. If you took, if you didn't use it and it just sat there, you'd get lucky if it was 20 years. But, this is a high impact sport. It definitely is. It's not, they don't skip on this stuff. Like they ride it, they go hard on these things. So you have to have a firm foundation or a firm structure, or it'll just, it'll deteriorate over time.
I seem to remember bicyclists complaining about the skateboarders, and the skateboarders complaining about the bicyclists at this little park. How are you going to keep really skaters in that park?
Well, so if you look, it's kind of the beauty of what we're trying to do. Again, none of these are exactly, this one's a little close to kind of what we were thinking, but none of these are exactly. But the idea is, if you see this area, it's got kind of these features in it, and it's got these curves. This is the actual skate park. This flat area that has the features on it, that's where skaters go. That's where skaters want to ride and do their tricks. Now this here is for the bikes. This is what bikes will mainly do. I mean, bikes will still sometimes do these tricks and things like that. But I've had a lot of discussions with with some skateboarders and some bicyclists or BMXers.
Where's the one, the meditation one?
I'll show you that in just a minute, okay? I've had a lot of conversations with them, and what we've talked about is there needs to be set rules, but there's also this, this is like a whole nother world for these people. They have their lingo, they have their own jargon, and we've talked about doing like monthly meetings where they come and they sit down and you learn the rules of respect. You learn how to respect each other on the skate park. You don't cut each other off. You don't use a feature if someone else is doing it. You be mindful. Mindfulness has come up quite a bit. Just being aware of who's around there with you, who's doing tricks. If you're an adult, be mindful that there's little kids. Marla and I have actually had a discussion today about setting maybe designated times where it is for small youth only. So the little kids get a chance to safely be out there and not feel intimidated or threatened, or fear that it's dangerous because there's more experienced older people on the skate park. Setting up some kind of schedule like that where it's like the same, like Saturday mornings from 9 to noon, it's youth morning or something like that, where parents can go out there as well and kind of teach those kids those tricks before they let them comfortably go out so they don't get hurt.
What if you did kind of like how a ski resort is, where you've got these separate circles and you have different levels of difficulty, so that there is an area where kids can learn and be safe and be kind of off to the side and maybe it could be towards the plane?
That's a good idea. One thing I looked at too, like if you had this kind of idea concept, is almost creating just a circle track all the way around it. That's, thin like this, but just it flows all the way out, but it kind of maybe gaps is like this much of a difference. And maybe like that outer track is for the beginners. Parents could actually walk around that while their kids are on the inside. Or the beginners can kind of stay on the outside and they stay away from the middle so they don't get hurt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I kind of like that too because I have heard quite a bit of opinions about roller skating. A lot of women want to have roller skating teams and things like that. So if we were able to mix that kind of idea into this as well, then we're giving them access to it as well. And that's the definition of inclusion right there. What other thoughts? Any? What do you guys think about setting the times, like having set times or set designated for youth only or for adults only, like having an adults night out there one night or things like that? You think it'd be good?
Yes.
Cool.
I think it's going to be very good. And I applaud that, but it's going to be hard to enforce. So
Yeah.
I'll mess up tomorrow.
How would we enforce that?
It is going to be hard.
Well, this is just very smart. Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying, those are things to think about and how this will be enforced. I think it's a great idea.
There's always an option to put a fence around it. You can always put a fence around it, so it really is locked at certain times and you can't get in, and then you have one of the park individuals that are there saying, hey, this is this age only. With this skate park though, we have to create a program or activity that partners with this and that it does have a COVID-19 tieback, right? So we would like to introduce a program or activity that is specifically focused for in-need youth, youth that are having issues with social anxiety, mental health, just lack of confidence, depression, and partnering with maybe a healthcare, a mental health service, or there is a organization here in town, a non-for-profit called Communities That Care, and they actually have a youth coalition. And their mission is engaging the youth and its preventative drug prevention. Yeah. Studies show that kids between 12 and 14 is like the riskiest years for them. That if they need help and they don't get it in those 2 years, that they have a just astronomically high chance of becoming a drug addict or being a criminal. And a lot of children in those areas in that age, they don't have a resource to go to get out, to let out. And there's a lot of anger issues, anger management, and you need to work that stuff out. You got to get it out of your system, get it out of your body in a healthy, safe way that's productive as well. And doing it this way teaches you goals, it teaches you skills, it gets your blood going, it gets, the good chemicals coming back into your brain with exercise. Sorry, Karen.
So BAM already posts youth challenges throughout the summer, different kinds of programs and stuff like that we have. That basically what we do each day when they come in, we actually have them sit around and talk to each other before they actually have a workout. Basically, is that they have to tell me 2 positive things about themselves and 1 thing they feel like they can work on. And then as each one goes along, they kind of encourage each other to hold each other accountable for that. So I'm not sure if that's something that we can help partnering with, but
Would you like to?
yeah.
What's your name? I'm sorry.
My name's Anisha.
Anisha?
Yep.
Marla, write Anisha down at BAM Fitness. Yeah, that would be great. We need, the kids need it. Yes, we do have to have this COVID-19 tie back. We have to have it for it to be qualified under this funding. But I see that as a blessing because we have to have activities for these kids. We have to actively be giving them outlets and resources and partnering. I'm all about collaboration 100%. As many people as we can work together, we all thrive together. So yeah, if you're interested, I know that we will be.
There is the Youth Coalition. It's a program that is that Eric Adams. So that's another resource.
Yeah, 100%. And Eric, I know Eric pretty well. He's great at talking to the kids. And every time that he has a youth coalition meeting, they have fun. They have fun and they play, but he sits down with them and covers at least one serious issue every time about, just the struggles of growing up, dealing with life and trying to make it through it, He's great with that with them. And, pairing those kinds of things, it's honestly very simple. Kids just want to have fun, and to have adults that want to play and interact with them, to a child or to a youth, it's the coolest thing ever, So taking advantage of that, having fun with these kids, it's a good outlet for them, and it's an area that, unfortunately, I think has kind of fallen through the cracks, And if you think about long-term things, you think about what happens 10 years from now if we give these kids this opportunity now. We potentially have better community, better workers, more educated workers, just more balanced individuals within our community. And, again, we just thrive all together.
Have you come across any kind of programs, kind of like the road scores? Are you familiar with road scores, confidence builder programs, but in skate park territory?
No. Do you, were they, it's the rope hanging down?
Harness and you climb up to the top and you walk the tightrope and you're all secure. And, if you fall, you don't actually fall, but it builds your confidence in yourself and those types of things. It's a whole high road scores and low road scores.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, Chaz run that.
yeah, but
They
in
do?
regards to skate parks, programming as far as learning how to skateboard, learning how to do that sort of thing as confidence, well, just like what you were saying. But so, I don't know if you've run across any of that kind of programming
No.
that's out there.
No, I haven't. To be honest with you, I haven't. I haven't at all. I'm just kind of in the beginning stages of what kind of partnerships can we create with it, and just learning a little bit. But no, I have not came across that specific one.
Urban College also had an experiential program. I don't think it exists anymore, but they did have it, and it was on the grounds of Berlin.
Really? And you don't think they have it anymore, though? I'll dig and find it.
In their outdoor something program. Yeah. I wrote Samuel,
Well, I've heard a lot of need as well, just from the counselors and the therapists here in the community. It's their job to get the kids out. They have like an hour session with them once a week, and they pick them up at their house, and their job is to bring them out into the community and do something, an activity with them for an hour or so. And there's just not a lot of options to do that. To teach them mindfulness and things like that during their counseling and session hours. I would love to be able to use this as an option for them as well, too, like to pair that behavioral health and things with these. But also, a whole completely different subject with this is this gives us a potential to have an economic boost within our community because of the way that we're going about it. We want to go so big, so large. It really is a tourist attraction. It's a huge tourist attraction. People will come and they'll bring their kids and they will skate all day long. They'll get on their skateboard for one day and then they'll stay the night and then they'll do their bikes all day the next day. The world's kind of changing, Our typical sports are still there, 100%, but there's alternative sports now that have really picked up and that have gotten a lot of attention, and a lot of people enjoy doing them. This has the potential to not just help our children, but help our economy also, with it. I think it's a very smart strategy, personally. So especially if you see this.
Have you seen the skateboard they have at Newcastle?
I have, yeah. Have you been there?
We actually are very good friends with the Winter Brothers. They're built to build, and they host events for the kids all the time there.
Yeah, they did like an Easter bunny on bikes thing.
They do another one at the summertime as well.
Do they? Yeah, like that is just it's so cool. It's so interactive with the kids too, It's not like, don't get me wrong, I have kids too, but sometimes you gotta just take them to the playground and sit there and decompress for the day, But like, I get that. I did have to do that too, but we also need things to interact with our kids at the same time too. It just creates a better relationship, a better bonding experience for us all. And again, I'm obviously huge on nature, so anytime that there's something outside, it's just, in my opinion, it's good for your health all the way around. So, did I show you guys this yet? I didn't explain it. So I'll go quick. So these are called disability frames. I have not found anyone that actually make these in the United States yet. These are from Australia. But there's videos online of the kids riding these, and it is the most beautiful thing ever, the smile on their faces. They just get to, there's not a lot of options for them sometimes to feel included with the rest of the groups, to feel like they're normal, they always feel different. So giving them like this kind of a resource, I think, I don't know, I'm not a physical therapist, but I'm sure that there's some tie back to that as well. Just letting them do something new and have a different kind of physical experience. But I really would like to go in the direction of trying to see if we can get a couple of these and having this as access, because there are skate parks all over, the region and stuff like that, but there's not this option anywhere.
That was also, wasn't that part of the Joel Park from the beginning?
What's that?
Part of disability stuff?
Well, it is accessible with something like this.
Get the food path, the swing that we have.
It's no lie. We need to have a little bit more ADA accessibility in our community, and for not just for our kids, but for everyone. We need to start kind of focusing on it a little bit and making sure that we add those into these builds. But if we can pull this off, I'm going to be beyond excited. Really am. So the bike trails, I'm going to go over to the map first so you guys see this. Are you guys all aware of the woods behind Roberts Park here that goes to the river? Does anybody know about those? It's actually, I hadn't been back there until just like a week or two ago. I was pretty amazed. There's very nice trails back there. But so if you're looking at this map, Right here is Kittyland. The current Kittyland is right there. We'd like to put the skate park and the pump track maybe here or just in this area, right? And then we would like to open up the gates right here and give all this area free access to the community for trails. It's, we have Nickel Plate Trail, and we do have that trail out at River's Edge. But really, that's it for the city as far as any accessible trails. But there's 35 acres back there, and we would like to do like a multi-skilled bike course. You can do it a lot of different ways, but we would like to do like a beginner, intermediate, and advanced level bike trails back through there. You can get these wooden features. These are, they're nuts. I mean, I've watched so many videos now. These guys, they like jump in the air and things like this. I thought this was cool. This is actually an old truck bed that they made into like a seating area out into the woods. But again, it's interactive with your family. It'd be a great area to teach your kids how to ride bikes. It'd be a great area just for you to ride bikes or to get exercise, but this is also a huge travel destination, a huge tourist attraction. I talked about it a little bit on Monday at the city council meeting that Bloomington has one of the biggest legacy trails in the nation. So Indiana is already getting a lot of attraction for bike paths and things like that. So with us being just 2 hours away, if we were to put in something like this and have this accessibility, it would be, they would already be coming to Indiana, to Bloomington, just go 2 hours away and then spend a couple days here. There is, I've done a lot of look at the impact studies that come from these. So from a little bit larger of a city, they put these trails in, and they put like 20 miles of trails in, and in their first year, they saw $6 million. $6 million increase in their local economy from those bike trails. And it's even more interesting is that it's a specific kind of tourist that you get. It is the educated, 30 to 40 years old, high income level tourist that they come to spend money, to enjoy themselves, and to have a good time. They come for 3 or 4 days and they want to stay and they really want to, venture out and see the whole community, see what we have. And you can only ride the bike trails during the day, so they need things to do at night as well. So, entertainment, bars, things like that. But it blew my mind when I saw that, $6 million in the very first year, just from putting these trails in.
Liability. What's the impact it's going to have on liability insurance?
Well, we have put the word in, but haven't got the final quote on the liability as far as insurance cost-wise, how much that will go up. I mean, there's going to be an increase on the park's insurance for sure, putting all these things in.
As long as you build it to using pre-engineered stuff like you see there, the skate park, there's IC codes that protect both these, as long as you have the proper signage, and they're built properly, that protects cities from liabilities. That's an IC code state was put in because there's the high demand for skate parks. That's one of the reasons why the concrete. If you go with wood, you can be held liable. There's no liability with wood. That's why the concrete with the rails are made with piping. So when I'm not a skateboarder, I just work with the rails, so what do they say? That tears everything up. And the way it's built is designed to build by professionals who understand that liability, so they don't have to stay there. So we're basically accepting the liability. It has to be maintained. If somebody breaks it, don't fix it, then we got that problem. But that's what it's been built. And like even the contract, it's designed for all rails. You can be a beginner rider on a bike track, you can be an expert mountain biker. They're designed that way specifically. So beginners can kind of go over hills, it's that exercise, that pulling motion for the core, or an expert rider, they can jump those hills. But they're designed for, I've seen pictures and videos of the designers that you have a bunch of people on these things, they work with those kids, older dogs, all ranges, all doing the same thing. It's designed for all of them. Now, the mountain bike course will be a little different. I'm not going to ride race level, but there will be paths around it. So if you get on an extra level and you don't want to take it, you can take a path around it.
We've also, we're trying to go as big as we possibly can with this, right? So we've been in contact. It's called the International Mountain Bike Association. It's the national level of this mountain bike association. Each state has their own association, and Indiana has one as well, but we kind of skipped Indiana. We went straight for the international, and have talked to them about maybe having them come in and design this, because we'll get national exposure in doing that. They put out lots of marketing and newsletters and things like that to all of their state entities. So if we let them come in and we chose to go this direction, we would have the highest quality design, highest quality build, but we would also have the highest marketing and exposure that we could probably possibly have for the United States. And then, they're coming in with the bike trails, but if we, right across the entrance from this, you have this huge all-wheels park at the same time. It's attraction like nothing else. You can go down into the woods, come back up, rinse your bike off, get on the skate park, go down the street, get something to eat, come back and spend the rest of the day. I know I'm talking a lot about it. It is a tourist attraction, because that is something that we do have to think about. Yes, obviously our kids are number one, 100%. We need to think about their mental health. We need to make that first. But we also need to be strategic on how we are going to get ourselves into a thriving position. And the idea of relying on one large company to just come in and save us all is not going to happen. It's just not. But if we intentionally put builds in here, that we bring people in and we start to work with our community, our small businesses, and we all partner together and we create a vacation or a destination together, we all thrive together. Because these people will come and they'll need to eat, they need entertainment, they'll want to go to the bar, they'll want to shop, they'll come here and they'll want to spend money. So just, it's everybody wins, honestly, in this. But at the same time, we can't do it alone either.
We actually, just to kind of give you guys a little insight, we actually saw this about a year ago. Charlie and I were in Terre Haute and actually found one of these parks very similar to this. It was on a dirt path. It was actually a Father's Day weekend and actually hosted one of those. So the fathers actually rode one day, and there was a bunch of little boys out there practicing for the next day. So then they actually rode the next day, and of course everybody was staying in different hotels and stuff like that. So, it looks very similar to this, and there was a lot of people there.
Was there?
So, it looked very amazing, so, I think it was super well.
And people stayed the night, stayed the weekend and things like that? Yeah.
We don't, yeah, we don't like have 3 hotels here in town, but behind the Great Haven and Woodridge Inn.
We've actually we did a walkthrough at the Woodridge Inn 2 weeks ago, and they actually have put quite a bit of work into it. It's not a brand new hotel. It's obviously not a brand new hotel, but they are working on it. I've got pictures on my phone. The idea is that they're going to put flooring in at the end of the week. But it is something, and something that the community could do that they would benefit even more than a hotel coming in is people need to start having Airbnbs in their own properties. People don't really want to stay at hotels anymore. They want to stay at an Airbnb, have that personal kind of authentic experience. And, if all of you did that, you could all make money, we would have this, they would stay, and then you could make money off of renting out someplace in your own backyard.
We also just have hotel feasibility study completed, and Connersville could support a hotel, but something like this, a hotel would come along. Because if you have enough people, you have to have the activities and the attractions and whatever to bring people here. That's why we're doing that. But with this and the other things that are being done, that will eventually come. It's not going to happen overnight, but that will eventually. This is what you have to do. Things like this is what you have to do.
And
I think you can also promote camping and things like that through the state parks.
Well,
Yes.
They come over the fairgrounds, they rent out those camp spots.
That's very true. That's
They've
good.
got hookup, they've got electric, they've got sewer, they've got
That's good. That's a very good point. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, the world has changed. People want to go camping. You know, they want to come here and be in the woods and experience. You know, we've got Indianapolis and Cincinnati. I mean, we really are, we do, I mean, we're not Florida and we're not California. We'll never be that. We are Indiana. But we do sit in a good spot where we're centrally between those two areas. You know, we got Louisville down south, and even Chicago up north isn't that far away.
So these, can you walk on them, or is it just purely you have to be on a bicycle?
You can definitely walk on them. And we actually, in one of the pathways yesterday, we talked to Pat Ripberger at Mezzo Solutions, and he had a really great idea of creating mindfulness, like guided meditation walks or trails. And it's, you know, it's essentially kind of like those storybook trails where they have the, you know, something to read on the side. But it, as you walk, it's to teach you to kind of to stop, take a minute, catch your breath, think about what's going on around you. Those things are really great for anxiety and things like that. But yeah, there's definitely potential to have that. Or like a running trail, something like that out there as well.
Would we design it here? Would we design it? We can't get ahead of the process, but we've already talked about having the walking paths separate from the mountain bike trails, so you're not walking across them. We also have to have emergency access. So if someone has a wreck, calls in, we can get in our UTVs or we can drive out there and access lanes. So it'd be all designed with all that in mind. So the designers know how to do all that.
Trail signs, you know, like you're on this course, you know, like marker signs and things like that. Like there'll be lots of signs in there. I mean, it's, you know, we would like to go as professional with it as we can. There's also, at some point here soon, I'm going to have a conversation with who runs the horse stalls back there, because I know that the horses have, you know, they ride the horses back there. And if, just to let you guys know, I haven't addressed this publicly yet, but we have no intention of kicking, of saying, you know, we're going to put bikes here, there can't be any more horses. We're going to find a creative solution to still give them a piece or have a trail or two. So, because they have maintained those woods for all these years, and they've created a lot of trails back then themselves. But, you know, our only goal is collaboration and just creating more access and resources for everyone in the community.
If you're worried about the success of it, Newcastle's actually developing stage 2 for their skate park. They're going to add on to the current one. So the Pointer Brothers, because you didn't know, Carl actually used to live here in town, in high school with me. And they're big into BMX, paintball. They're now worldwide known for everything they do. They will promote, they will help come down and offer their ideas and services as well. So.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Let me write that down. You did. Thank you, Marla. and again, there are one specifically. I don't know if you guys have seen Timothy Luke on social media before. He's the skate park activist. He's been trying to get a skate park here for a long time. He is more than willing, and he loves the idea of us letting him kind of do like some lessons, like free lessons for the kids, like, or once a month, you know, like a group lesson. They come in, teaching them how to do different jumps and different tricks and things like that. And he is a very calm and motivating young man. He's just very kind, and he loves skating. It's his passion, and he wants to share that with the rest of the world. You know, like the idea that he gets to help other kids go through hard times and teach them how to do something that makes them feel good about themselves is that's beautiful to him. So that's, you know, those are the kind of things that we want to pair with this, that we want to do. We don't just want to put the skate park out there and then never look at it again and let everyone roam and, you know, and not do something positive with it. You know, say it again.
The concrete will last for years. I know previously we had the with the skate park, and those aren't built to last because they weather unless they're inside. So the concrete does last a very long time, as long as it's built.
And it's, depending on the skate park or the company that we go with, it would be a 20 to 25-year warranty. And they do highly recommend you have to seal it every 3 years to maintain it, make sure it lives that long. And right now they're pricing sealing at $3,500 for one seal every 3 years. So maintenance-wise for the skate park and the pump track, about $1,000 a year. You know, there's lights, that would, you know, obviously the lights is a different one, but it's really, you know, maintaining it isn't really that hard. The features that have steel, you have to paint on the steel like twice a year, or I'm sorry, every 2 years, I apologize. But does anybody have any questions about Roberts Park? What did you guys think about moving the playground to that corner instead? Do you guys have any thoughts on that back there in that corner? You guys are okay. The only thing about that is then the playground won't be next to a bathroom.
And that's essential.
It really is essential. We would have to build a whole new bathroom, but we've talked about there's going to have to be some fencing that goes up, some barrier fencing between the playground and the skate park. Maybe not, you know, a 6 or 7 foot high privacy fence, but at least like 4 foot high barrier, or the playground itself has an entire fence around it. Sorry. Because we don't want toddlers, you know, just kind of getting out of mom's sight and winding up over in the skate park and getting hurt. That would be terrible. So, you know, all those things are definitely, you know, our first priority when we're thinking about things like this. Okay, let's move on to Offutt's Park. Have you guys seen the plans for this at all or heard anything about this? I don't know if you guys have been over to Offutt's Park lately, but right now, as it sits, there is a playground right here, and then there's a basketball court and a foosball court. So what we would like to do is put in a walking path that goes all the way around, and then it also would go south and north to give those walkers access. That would take you straight up to Walmart there. But also this fitness court I'm going to show you in just a minute in the next slide, that is a very, very cool feature. It's something new, it's something different, but we'd like to put that in there, and then also exercise machines along the walking path as well. These are the things that the HELP grant can pay for. Marla has a lot of ideas of some other things that she would like to add on to it eventually down the road, you know, shelters and things like that. But this would be a great start for the area to get it developed, to put something in there now that we can pay for and that we can get done. And it's giving outdoor fitness, walking paths and walkability into this area that has just sat flat for a long time. It's never been developed, it's never been used. And as we all know, there's so many homes all around it.
So when you're talking about walking paths, you're actually talking about paths, not just, tell me what you're talking about.
Paved asphalt, like, you know, 5 or 6 foot wide.
So is there any way that it can connect to nickel plate from there?
We've talked about that. We've talked about that quite a bit.
That's very difficult, putting an actual walking path, because you can't take up any surface of the road to do that. And you have to take people's front yards, backyards, and that's probably not going to happen. So even though it's going through the street, you can walk around to the path and get there.
I remember years ago we had that feasibility stuff where we walked around this town. And, you know, these paths that we're supposed to have that crosses streets and things like that. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
There has to be a separation barrier between the walking path and the street. So you can't take the section of the street and strike it for walking. There has to be an actual separation.
Unless you make it a bike path, but then you can.
The idea of connecting trails all across the city literally comes up every single day. Yeah, we talk about it every single day. It comes up. It talks about it's definitely a want for sure out of the community and a need, because we don't, especially in that area, there's not sidewalks. So that it's not something that we can do right now with the HELP funding, but I definitely hear that 100% from the community as something that they want to see done. And hopefully we can get to a point, long term where we're able to do that, putting in even bike trails to go, or bike paths along the side of the road to go with it too. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Indiana Next Level Trails before. It's something that Governor Halcomb created, I think, about 3 years ago, and he actually put all through the state of Indiana intersecting trails, a course or a trail, in several, so you can go through the entire state, north to south, east to west. And he has actually identified for a trail to go in off of 70 and run south and come straight through Connorsville. It'll go all the way down Western and go down 121 and down to Metamora. So at some point, they just closed a grant cycle about a year ago. I think they're opening up another one in like a year or 2 years. But that's another option. That's millions of dollars of grants if they want to put a trail straight through Connorsville. And being able to have all of this stuff and then connect it to that will just be, it'll be the start of it all. Do you guys have any questions over this right here?
Andrea, I'm curious if you've done either a study or looked at the population in Office Park itself. I don't even know if that could be segmented out so you would know age groups, like how many actual children, how many adults. So, I think this is absolutely wonderful. It's going to benefit everybody, but also having that information and also maybe some economic information will help you with your low and moderate income.
How to do that? Yeah, it's a very good point. Very good point. We do sit in an area. This is definitely low and moderate income, for sure, and a good portion of the entire county kind of is. But yeah, it gives them usability to that, and some people that don't have transportation, as well too. They do have Roberts Park right there, but the fitness court is what is the really cool part. Have you guys seen this at all yet from anything online? This is a fitness court. You can technically just do one side if you want, or you can do double side. We would like to do the double side, because as you can see, this side here has all of these, I don't know if you actually call them stations or platforms. Yeah, activity stations. And then all along the back here, there's actual different kinds, it's not technically a machine, but they're kind of like machines that run all through the back for different kinds of exercising on it. And then the other side is a full mat form. And this is all ADA accessible too, also, the way it comes, the way it's built. So I think I mentioned that at the city council meeting. Yes.
So the great thing about this course is it's set up for a 7-minute course. And so the intention is that you're in and out in 10 minutes. And so you go through the course. There's also an app that you can download that's free, and it will guide you through the course. And so you don't have to be an expert or anything to come and use the course. It will be guided. They will also train someone locally to, someone in the park, they will train us to be knowledgeable on that course. So if there are any questions or if we want to host any classes or anything, that we can. But the course is designed specifically to walk through each step and you get a 7-minute workout.
Are you talking about this side?
This side on the left here, yes, at the bottom left corner, the left side of that. The right side is built for exercise, aerobics classes, yoga classes, any kind of, yes.
My son wants to do Tai Chi. He really would.
So do you look at the exercise side of that as, could that be kids to adults?
Well, they really recommend adults. That's why they recommend it. We do not put it close to a playground because they do not want kids to think that it is a playground. And so it has to be 150 feet away from a playground because they don't want it to kids to think that it's something for them to play on.
Yeah.
What about parking? This is great for people who live within the area, but then there's those of us who don't live there who might want to go through there. Where would we park?
Well, and we're still, I want to express that I am flying through this help process as fast as I can. We're really a few steps ahead than the other cohorts are. They're not to these points. So, I mean, we have just this week, or last week, just kind of started throwing features out there and just kind of playing around and see where things would go and things. So, I mean, the first idea is to put the parking here, because you already have this drive, so you could do like enter and exit here. So that's an option. There, you could do it, here. We're not set yet on exactly where.
There will be some provision for that.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. It has to go in there because there's nowhere to park. They'd be on the side. They'd be in front of someone's house, which a lot of those houses don't even have driveways. But yeah. No, you're good.
But my concern has been security. We do nice things in this community, and then there's always a few who mess it up. And so, what are the thoughts on providing security so there's not a lot of graffiti or tearing up, for instance, the exercise courts?
Well, the cheapest answer to that is getting the neighborhood involved, getting them to have some ownership of this area. Marla's had a lot of thought. She's thrown out the ideas of, you do all this, right, but putting like hammocks and like cushy seating and having like actual lounge spots and, maybe grills or those little portable grills or whatever, but where people can actually just come and hang out. Yeah. People of the community, the neighborhood that live right there, the kids and stuff like that.
So is that a thought on creating like a neighborhood watch? Like, do we have something like that? Is that something that we're looking into?
Chad's kind of starting the process of your neighborhood block parties. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we're starting neighborhood, I don't want to say block parties, but that's a different meaning, but it's neighborhood street parties, and those street parties is when you bring your neighbors together, because a lot of them don't know people who live on a house north or south of us, and through those to develop ideas about community watches and everything like that. So those are starting this summer.
Yeah. With this site especially, it would be cool to, to have like not a storage shed, but just some kind of storage space for like tennis balls, basketballs, things like that for the kids to play with. And then maybe a few of the individuals in that neighborhood could have keys to it and give access to the kids, so they have those sports and things like that. And, it teaches you to interact with your neighbors.
We did have a building there a few years ago.
At Office Park?
Yeah,
It's a little shed.
a little shed.
What happened to it?
They got donated to the high school. They announced it's better.
Did you use it for?
There were people who did use it for a couple of years.
Was it that same kind of idea where like some of the neighbors had?
We did community gardens there.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no
So
idea.
we had shovels and that kind of stuff.
Did it get vandalized?
There were some vandalism issues and stuff.
And then the programming ran out. Like nobody picked it back up.
Okay, I see. There's not good lighting over there right now.
What kind of conversations have you had with the neighbors of the park?
I'll be honest, I haven't had any of the exact neighbors. I personally have not. No. It definitely is. Yeah. The part of me presenting this to the parks and the city was to see if it would even fly, if it would be something that they would let us direct to. But it is going to be I'm going to have to go door to door with every single neighbor.
The funny thing is, if this was built in a lot of the neighborhoods, it would up your home values, and things like that. But that's an area where I don't know if there's even consideration about that kind of aspect with that. I know that shovels have redone some of those houses and stuff and really kind of updated some of those things, and they're using them as rentals, I believe. Is that correct? And so, they might be a good group to talk to because they're at least investing in that area.
That's a piece of puzzle going forward identified by the project. That's a piece of puzzle going forward once you identify the project. if something happens that can't go there, we can move it somewhere else. But the first place they really want us to look at is the local area comes to places and don't get it. When we were shut down, they didn't have the activities and services. So that's what this is provided for. If something happens in the future or whatever, we have a place where we can still get out and do stuff. So they really want us to focus on the local area.
And you know, this strange, I would say this, and I'm not trying to say anything dramatic or anything, but during COVID, the world kind of stopped a lot of things. Mental health, Meridian and Centerstone kept going. I mean, we didn't have an alternative. We kept seeing our clients and stuff. And so we still utilized, and it was nice because the parks were a little bit more quiet at the time. And so, you know, I look at the facilities and think that that's just wonderful opportunities for exactly what we're talking about and for that long range goal.
That's cool to hear.
That's why we look at more because it's just grass. It'd be nice to have more. We keep hearing all the time, we love to have more to do around our area. We hear that all the time.
Smooth grass.
Yeah, it's just one flat patch of grass. I will say through this entire process, I have heard several community input in different avenues about people wanting to see something go into Office Park, and I have not heard one negative thing. Not one person has said, I don't want that. You know, that's my backyard. I don't want anything.
Soccer is played there.
Really? Does anybody know
Kids played soccer.
where the name Office came from? Does anybody know that? A young man with the last name of Offutt was the first Connersville man killed in World War II. And they named the space after him. I kind of think that's a cool story. But
The walking path at north and then the walking path south, is that through somebody's private property that you'll have to get easements for?
no, it's still Parks property. This Parks goes right here, and then it does go out. It is definitely Parks property, and like their property line is right here.
So there's a little path between those two houses. I mean, there's a little piece of grass between those two houses.
Yeah, I mean it looks little here, but it's at least 30 foot.
Our side.
Yeah, people are already driving through it right now.
Oh, people drive through it right now?
Yeah, there was one idea for us to actually just put a whole road through here, and then put parking here too, because kind of where we're stuck at right now is, you know, we've got kids over here and kids over here. They're not
Does the playground
put together.
need revamped? The new playground equipment that will go in there?
We would like to, yeah, definitely. Technically, that playground's not that bad, especially compared to others. But yeah, there's plans in there to put another playground. Not as big as what's going in Kittyland, but new playground there.
I'm thinking from my mental health brain, side of my brain, that if you bring some of the people or invite the people from the Norfolk Park area to have input, and then begin, because that can develop a sense of ownership, it's ours, therefore we want to make sure that it stays safe. So I think the more you involve them and get their input, and so they feel that sense of ownership, that's ours. Not that the rest of the people can't use it, but it's that it's theirs because they've got a piece of it.
Sure, yeah.
I think it really goes from, I think you call it Waterloo, including Erie Street, like where we are, and get all of those people involved. Yeah.
And that's the plan, which like she said, when they said we can't really do that until the project's done, they would absolutely.
But yeah, if we work this right and we kind of start to emphasize Chad's neighborhood block parties, and you know maybe the first maybe the first one is at the launch of this, or we start to have a neighborhood block party and kind of start bringing people together. Actually, that might be a great idea for me to talk to everybody about what's going on in there. Actually, is have a block party, and we present that to them.
Well, he's even said,
That's a good idea.
He's even said, don't wait for the city to do, if somebody wants to organize a neighborhood party, do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, people are kind of under the impression that they have to have city.
You can
city approval to do those things.
Even if you want to close it on the street.
Yeah, yeah. But, interaction with your neighbors, because, I mean, if you're in trouble, something happens in the middle of the night, your neighbors are the first ones there. But, so yeah, again, as this process goes on, the next month, 2-3 months, this will probably be a little bit different as far as layout and design. I know at some point Marla does want to put some benches and things along it, and there's been a lot of talk about putting a shelter or two out there as well for shade. But those things would never cover under the HELP grant, unfortunately. But this just gives us a great piece to start it out, and then we know what our future goals are as well.
So what's your thoughts on having, going ahead and having, one of the neighborhood watch parties, or block parties, here soon, so that way you could hear some of the thoughts of, what people in that community think, and then that way, we can kind of pick it off when it was small, it was there, and then that way you get feedback at the same time, and then that's,
Yeah, what we're doing is, we've already put it out 2 or 3 times.
I just got to plug it. I think it might.
We had one person combine this.
There's one right there, baby. That white one, yeah. I think that'll work. Here, let me see. We go this way. Here. Oh, you're right. Okay, sorry, I'm just kind of panicking. Here, I'll do this. So that is a good idea. Do you happen to live out there?
we actually live over by the ECU, we have a really great community, so I have no issue, I'm sure I can talk to some of ours, but it was just kind of a thought in my head that, maybe it would go over well, and that way you could get both feedback and, make them feel like a sense of, something great coming and,
Yeah, that's a really, really good idea. That's a very good idea. When I presented this to City Council on Monday, sorry guys, my computer died. When I presented this to City Council on Monday, one of the council members really pushed for us putting privacy fence in the plans, so that there was that privacy barrier for the residents there. So again, that's a whole process that I'll have to look into, and talk to them to see if they're even interested in doing that, or what their current backyard looks like. Because, Chad brought up that point, if you put a privacy fence up in their backyard, then they completely lose, the view and the access to the park, unless they build their own gate or something like that as well. So, but you're very, very valid points. We need to be asking all of these individuals what their thoughts are before we just go putting a park in their backyard. And all working together with it.
So all of these funds, is it all going to parks?
So far, yeah, we're really hyper-focusing on the health and fitness, yeah. There's been a few small things that have been identified. There's a lot of small things, but really with these 3 projects and then River's Edge, it's $2 million. It's definitely is. $2 million goes pretty quick.
I don't know if anybody realizes how hard hit they have on the animal shelter. I know city and county was 2 different things, but I'm sure everybody understands that most of the problems on the animal shelter are from city.
I actually went to the animal shelter last week and checked it out and saw it. The cat room is very sad. Very, very sad. I couldn't believe that.
COVID does have an impact.
For sure.
I hope everyone understands that. People are looking for quick money, so they start breeding their dogs. Those dogs end up coming back to the shelter. And people go back to work, and we have been packed full since last June. And it has been a battle. If you want to talk about mental stress on volunteers and employees, you can find it up there. And don't really feel like we're getting too much
Yeah,
proposal that I put together, I won't go through it. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's been submitted a couple of times to the county. And it's things that we
Justin.
need up there. And why, why we did it. So I'd be more than happy to give you this. So we can consider at some point in time, but we really need to crack down on dog tags.
That's not
we need to
even-
crack down on breeding.
That's not even my computer.
Is that your background?
No. There it is. You did
Oh, I
it.
know.
How'd you do that?
I don't.
Great activities that can go on out there. The building we want to put in a tree.
Thank you. I
Got
appreciate
bills in
it.
the mouth.
So we can
Thank
start
you, sir.
educating the children on dog behavior, body language, how to breathe. So we're going to all So there are other options out there that I really wish you guys would take outside of the box and take a look at the opportunities that are actually missing.
Well, we try to think outside the box too. We got to meet up with requirements and what they'll let us spend money on. Because it's not easy, and we just can't come up with an idea and they're going to bless us with it. No, it's very tough. So we have to tie a lot of things into their grant opportunity, their process. And the second thing, since when I was on city council, we did community engagements. When I was mayor, we've done community engagements. There's been 2 or 3 different community engagements, and every single one, and we even did a regional community engagement, that's a 3rd one, including one we just did here, pointed towards board amenities in the park. Every single one of them, by far, that's what they were looking for. So we also have to count the fact that every single community engagement said we want to see amenities in the park for our kids, for our senior citizens. This covers age young to old. So that's really what drove us to look at different ways to help with our health, to help with our fitness, because we're 90 and a 92 in the state for our health ranking, which is pitiful. And all these address the mental health, the physical health, they address in all age demographics. So that's kind of why we presented these 3 ideas based on the survey results we've received over the past 6 years, I believe. And there's some that dates back even farther than that. But every single one of them pointing towards this. This is what the committee wanted to see.
Mayor, what if we used, so we had created the May Health Month that we had, discussed already as far as doing the May challenge and stuff like that. So what if I kind of was just discussing this earlier, we plan to build each year and, bring more to the community as far as the May Health Month goes and stuff like that, but we had also talked about charging some of that. So what if we took those funds and in a way to help, we could,
We need to find a way. Do you have that list I can have? Do you have a list or something I can have?
Yeah, what kind of, I've seen help the animal shelter, but I've not heard like specific ways to how to do that.
So it is a good fancy, shiny things. It's, they don't even have a washer and dryer. The dogs don't even get blankets.
Well, the cats are dying because there's no airflow or windows in that.
Yeah,
room.
there's
They're in,
not.
rusted
I mean,
cages.
it's inhumane.
It is.
It really should not be
Ours
happening.
are always cement, cold, wet, because they spray them. They don't get blanket.
And if they do get blankets, they have no washer, no
That's
dryer
what
to
I'm
wash
saying.
anything to clean it.
Do they have hookups out there to put one in?
It goes,
All these years, they've never had.
and if you go in the refrigerator, go ahead and put your lunch in there. There's mouse feces in there, mice get in the fridge. You can't even store your lunch in the refrigerator there if you're volunteering.
I feel like people vote on like parks and stuff because that's things they want, but they don't you can just drop your animal, just your animal off, and then it's not your problem anymore. That's how people see it.
Well, and it's like she just said, during COVID, so many people dumped their animals because they couldn't afford to feed them. So many people was out of work.
So it is
it's stuck
COVID
with
related.
The shelter,
Yeah.
the shelter didn't
I
have
see
any
that.
money to feed all the dumped animals. So it is COVID.
And they used to
A
put
lot
on
of things.
Facebook to donate. I know during COVID, I donated.
Have you guys ever looked at grants at all?
She's gonna be looking into grants and stuff,
I-
trying to help.
I dove pretty hard into grants for the animal shelter last night, and there are a lot.
Well,
A
no,
lot.
They need a donate button. They're supposed to be working on a donate button. You can't just add one on the animal shelter. Their Facebook or page, nobody can donate because they won't give the button. They
On-
won't set it up for them.
On their Facebook page or like on the city page?
On the city page,
No,
Facebook.
the animal shelter page. There's some reason they're not allowed to add
For tax
it.
purposes.
But no.
They're looking into it.
They could funnel it through a not-for-profit.
Tax implications.
They could have a not-for-profit collect those donate funds like Voices for them, and then give them that money for sure. That's the Fayette County Community Voices. It's a nonprofit organization, but its whole purpose is to aid entities kind of like this that are kind of stuck in between, the cracks. And their whole purpose, their whole mission is to be of service, and they write grants all the time. They get, and they're actually very experienced with grants. Brayton's on that board, and he can get a grant for absolutely anything, anytime.
It'd be good for people with anxiety, depression, mental health.
We have people that
To go take care of animals.
Yeah, I saw several.
But yet it's depressing when you go in there.
I saw.
At the point, I'm almost ready to stop because I couldn't handle getting in the car the other morning and shaking. I was so cold thinking that they ain't got no blankets out there, and there's almost starting to go through my head. Volunteer.
I saw several grants that the whole purpose was for human-animal contact, or like programs like that. Like if you could create a program like that, they would fund that. There was one, I've got a list, one that is specifically just for cats. Like they will only fund, facilities or upgrades for cats, and then just food, facility, maintenance, things like that. Yeah, and I would more than love to help you guys figure out how to get some grants in, because that's a prime. You just have to write a 1-paragraph summary and take a couple pictures, and someone's gonna be like, yes, we're gonna help out. Yeah, 100%.
Because like if we could push it like a lot in Man Fitness, we've got quite a few members over there that we could push like, hey, come help us with this. I know we could say, hey, we'll give you a free month if you go up there and help, do something like that. Because a lot of your small businesses will help if just a lot of times.
Are you keeping that list?
So I didn't know if that would help.
Oh, sweet. Community days. Need help? Yeah.
It needs to be humane.
It does. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, we got sidetracked, you guys. I apologize. But we'll talk a little bit more when I'm done with this, okay? So does anyone have any questions on Offutt's Park? Are we good? Because the next one is, we're just going to kind of quickly go over River's Edge. River's Edge, I don't know if you guys, again, have seen anything that we've been talking about publicly yet, but it's ADA is what we need to focus on right now for River's Edge. But in doing that, we kind of need to be mindful of the long-term plan, the master plan kind of where that's going. So we're in the process of getting that master plan out, and then the idea is that we're hoping to put in the ADA, all the ADA parking and the ADA seating around the playground, the amphitheater, and the restrooms, finishing out the restrooms with all of the materials, the toilets and stalls and things like that, and then putting in the septic tank and sewer line. So that can officially be open to the public to use. And then we will be back in good standing with DNR, so we can start pumping out DNR grants, and trails grants like crazy, yeah. So that is the goal with that, and that's we would like to use the help funding for that as well. And then here also, a lot of the what we've talked about a lot with Marla about that master plan is because soccer has grown so much. Marla's been really worried that we would put ball fields right next to the soccer fields, and then soccer would grow more, and we wouldn't have anywhere to expand. So I believe she's also been, there's been conversations about starting a flag football team with Ryan Lynch or for the youth as a feeder program to the high school football team. So the idea is to possibly put 2 flag football fields out there so they can start that program. And if soccer does grow, they can use those football fields as for soccer fields as well. But I think the direction that we hopefully will go, we have to talk to the park board more about it on Monday, but we might not put any major league fields out there because there just really isn't a need for it. But start out with the minor fields, because the minor fields can actually be used for the minor league softball and for kickball as well. But nothing of that is official yet because I haven't talked to the Parks Department about it, and I haven't shown that map or anything like that to the City Council, but that's just kind of what we're trying to work through and work out. That's, you see this list of this ADA stuff, and you can think, well, why haven't you done that already? There's actually a lot of, back steps, or a lot of steps that have to be figured out and considered and decided on first, because, there's a potential, since we're setting it up like a multi-phase build, that if we start phase 1 and we put things in the wrong spot, then we're just shooting ourselves in the foot, honestly. We'll have to go back and take those things out, and it'll be more money in the long run. So I got the official, I finally went out there and took measurements and checked everything. I don't know 100% sure, but it's roughly about $100,000 for it all. Yeah. The HELP grant can pay for all of that, yeah, because it's all ADA. Yeah, because it's all ADA. Yeah, potentially, as long as it's... Yeah.
Try to get our best guess, our best estimate, because we really can't go get estimates, or if we get estimates, and look at it, well, it's a pre-existing project, we're not approved, and they will do it, so you can't get estimates. Their process is very backwards. It drives me out doing the same, but I have to follow the process.
Yeah. And I mean, the name of this grant is Hoosier Enduring Legacy Program. They want us to build legacy projects. They want us to do a large build that brings a lot of issues together, and it's inclusive to the entire community and things like that. So, these projects are legacy projects. So, that's another big direction why we've gone, or another big reason why we've gone that direction. And then if you think about it, at the end of this process, when we build these, we've got 2nd Street going in, we'll have updates to every single one of the parks. And we'll have opened up a park on the south end of town that's never been there before, and we will have actual ADA accessible playgrounds, real ADA accessible playgrounds for the first time probably ever in Connersville at least. So to me, that's huge. That's massive.
So is there anything considered for 2nd Street Park in this?
Yeah.
2nd Street Park, they're starting here.
Well, we did go through winter, but it's coming.
Isn't it supposed to start in May?
And that's really all I've got, you guys. I'm going to put all this stuff on the city page tomorrow. Again, the next week or two, there's going to be a lot of information going out with the park board conversations and the city council meetings. And then I've got the final end of my pathway groups as well. So I'll be sending out a lot of updates, ideas, and how we've, maybe perfected these even more. And then thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate you guys coming. I really like the rapport and us talking back and forth, that we were able to openly talk and stuff. I really appreciate that, you guys, everyone. Really, thank you. Anyone have any questions? All right, we're good. We're done.